Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Eldercare's weekly webinar series. I am Adrienne Ostris. I'm the digital marketing director here with you, and I'm super excited to have our special guest on. And we all know why I am I'm excited because I am the integrity connector here at Eldercare as well. And so today's products that we're going to be talking about are on Integrity Connect. So if you're already doing your Medicare on there, you can easily go to that contact, run them a Foresters quote, get them enrolled all in one place. I see some more people jumping on. Good morning. Good morning, Gloria, Jeremy, Jonathan, Mark, Mary, Mike, a lot of M names. Gary, Rayvon in the house. Good morning, guys. So hopefully all of you know the drill. Find the Q&A box. Chat is disabled. So if you're on Zoom, you have to find the Q&A box. Tell us good morning. Tell us if you've ever even heard of Foresters products. If you're really familiar, just haven't, don't know how to position it. Let us know what you want from this training because we want you to leave this training confident in these products. So without further ado, I would love to welcome our special guest, Luke Keller with Foresters. Good morning, Luke.
Good morning, Adrienne. Thank you for having me on. Excited to be here. Excited to talk a little final expense and why you guys would want to look to Foresters to help, service and build out your group of clients, right? So let me
Yes,
pull my screen up
absolutely.
here. We'll dive into it. As Adrienne said, throw your chat or throw your questions in the Q&A. This is open forum. So anything that comes to your guys' mind, if you want to get that answer right now, this is the time to do it, right? I love having the dialogue, the conversation as we talk about, our products, but, really our business and our clients and best ways that we can service everyone.
Sounds good. Yes, good morning. Thank you.
So if we want to go ahead and dive right in,
We're
first things
ready.
first, top reasons why you would want to write Foresters. Number one, we're your key life partner when it comes to simplified issue products. The product we're talking about today, the final expense plan, that is a simplified issue product. You get a point of sale decision right when you are completing the application. So right then and there that your client is covered, that they're approved. And with all of our simplified issue business, we actually average 3.2 days from submit to placement, basically meaning all that simplified issue business that we receive on average from when you submit it to when we place it in force, which means the coverage is active, the first premiums have been drafted, we've released commissions, which we pay commissions daily, all of that done within a 3-day time period. That is an incredible turnaround time. That is a benefit to you guys, but a benefit to your clients especially, right? We understand in this day and age, people do not want, people want things right now, right? If I paid for it, I want it now, right? So we understand that. We understand the need that they have, the peace of mind that comes with getting covered quickly, as opposed to, a fully underwritten case, let's say, that could stretch out 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, depending on carriers that you're working with. So, we have a great medical platform. We average 22 days submit to place there. But if you're looking for that quick turnaround time on those insurance applications, the simplified issue platform is going to be the way to do it. And secondly, is what makes Foresters unique. We are actually a not-for-profit insurance company. We're a fraternal benefit society. So what that means is we have a full suite of member benefits that are free and available to anybody who has a Foresters policy. It doesn't matter if you have a small $10,000 final expense product or a $10 million term. Everyone gets access to these same benefits. And I'll highlight a couple of the more popular ones here at the end. And speaking of term, we have two great term products. If you guys know your term, that is your regular everyday term product. We're actually working on a reprice, so stay tuned for that. The most important term that you guys probably use the most is going to be Strong Foundation. That is our niche term product for diabetics and tobacco and nicotine users. So remember, when you guys are quoting Strong Foundation, any client that you have who uses a tobacco or nicotine product, as long as it's not cigarettes, right? They smoke a cigar once a week. Vape pens are very popular right now, Zyn pouches, right? Things like that. If you write any of those people on Strong Foundation, we would get them a non-tobacco rate class. And as I said, also built in some special rules for diabetics That's the only simplified issue product on the market that would accept a type 1 diabetic. So if you have someone with type 1 diabetes, no complications, no other health issues, right? They're able to get qualified without having to do a full medical. So again, expanding your guys' reach, expanding the number of people you can get covered, but more importantly, expanding how you can get them covered quickly instead of taking more time on an application. We have a great I-10 program. So for your non-US citizens who work, live, or are retired in the US but are paying taxes, we have ways for them to be qualified as well. And then if we look at our entire product suite, as I said, final expense goes as low as 5,000. We can do term or any permanent products fully underwritten up to 10 mil. We have a wide range of face amount options to fit any client budget, right? So if you're working with, maybe someone on the final expense market, limited, budget, maybe, a fixed income, right? They're looking for something more affordable. We have small face amounts for them. For those folks that have a more substantial need for coverage, we can accommodate them as well through the term or the permanent products. As we said, today we're going to be focusing specifically on PlanRight. This is our final expense plan. This is a simplified whole life product. So, it's, we market it as final expense, but that's not to say that the death benefit proceeds can only pay for a funeral, right? The death benefit proceeds are paid out to the beneficiaries. They can use that to pay for, whatever it is that they need. So when we talk about final expense, especially, what are we talking about? What this is used to pay for, right? So your final expenses for sure, probate fees, medical bills, things like this, right? It's only a maximum face amount of 35K. So we're not covering everything, but these end stage, these late stage expenses that can pile up, especially for older people, this is going to be, a way to make sure that they're protected and certainly that their family is protected and not having to come out of pocket to cover any of this stuff, later in life. What we've done with PlanRight is we have built in 3 different plan types that they can qualify for: preferred, standard, or basic. And because this is whole life, it's all built around guarantees, right? If I'm spending my money on something, especially something like insurance, I want a guarantee. And that's the beautiful thing about whole life insurance, is that you are guaranteed a level premium and you are guaranteed your death benefit as long as you pay that premium, right? There's also guaranteed cash value that grows in this. Now, of course, PlanRight as a final expense plan is not going to be a very substantial amount of cash value growth. But just like with any whole life policy, it will build some cash value, and your client has the ability to access that if they need to. And then,
Yeah, I was gonna say, and
yeah,
everyone is guaranteed to die. I thought that's what
exactly.
you were gonna say next, but you didn't say that.
Listen, but it's important to call that out, right?
It is.
Because
It is
if we,
absolutely.
if we
Can't be
think
scared
about,
to say it.
right, exactly. I mean, it's the whole reason that we do this job, right? We understand that people need insurance. They want insurance for many, many things in their life. But there's only one kind of insurance that is guaranteed to pay out for you, and it is life insurance, right? Um, so that's why you really want to focus in on something like this, right? Because again, we have a way to make sure that they are covered in all the different aspects or stages of that client's life, right? We see it every day. Somebody who's 65 or older, maybe they had a policy through work. Obviously, they're retired now. They no longer have that insurance coverage. They may not have planned ahead for this moment. And because they're older, potentially with some health issues, they're going to have trouble getting coverage, or certainly have trouble getting affordable coverage. That is where this product slides in, right? You guys probably talk to these people every day, right? Someone calls you because they have a need for insurance, that they're at a point in their life where, we don't want to say it's too late, but they are in a position where they are limited in what options they have to them. So that's where you guys can slide in with this product and say, we have a way to get you qualified today through this simple application process. We look at the product basics. So as I said, 3 different plan types: preferred, standard, and basic. The beautiful thing about the app is you're going to know what they qualify for, which plan level they're going to slide into just by their answers to the medical questions. So preferred and standard, these are 100% day one death benefit. If they qualify for basic, it's a graded death benefit, but this is going to be for folks who have maybe some more serious health issues. We have some special underwriting guidelines with this product that allows us to get these people qualified. So even at basic, you're on a graded period for the first 2 years. If they passed away during those first 2 years, the death benefit is still going to be paid out in the form of return of their premiums plus 10% of the face value. If they get to year 3 and beyond, obviously that's full 100% of the death benefit at that point. And when we look at the face amounts that are available, if they qualify for preferred, up to $35,000, that's the max that this product would allow. If they can only qualify at standard, again, that's still a day one death benefit. They would be capped at $20K in terms of total face amount. And then on the basic plan level, $15,000 is the max. You can also see that there's an age limit for that specific plan type, right? This product is for 50 to 85-year-olds. However, if they can only qualify for basic, if they're over the age of 80, they would not be qualified. So just keep that in mind. But for the most part, anyone, within this age range, unless there's a really serious health issue that they have, they're almost certainly going to get qualified for this plan. And it's all done through the PlanRight Live app. This is a third-party application. You guys link to it right from Foresters EasyBiz page. We have removed the phone interview that used to be required on this plan. So no longer is there a follow-up call that your client needs to do. There's no phone interview that they need to complete at the time of application. So again, you can see everything that we're doing is in the interest of simplifying things, not just for your client, but for you guys as the agent, right? So with this simple application process, they're going to go through and answer a set of 15 medical questions. Take a look at them here in a second, but you'll see that the app will tell you exactly what they qualify for based on those answers. And then, as we said, it's whole life insurance. So the name of the game is guarantees. You're guaranteed a level premium and you're guaranteed a death benefit as long as you pay that premium, right? With the point of sale decision, little as 7 minutes from start to finish, completing the app, getting your decision. That's an incredible bonus to you guys and a boost for your clients as well. They know that they're qualified. You submit the app to us, and then within a 48-hour period, this is typically placed in force. So really, really quick turnaround times. And they're able to be flexible with when and how they pay their premiums as well, right? So you guys can specify on the application if they want their premiums drafted right away, or if there's a specific day of the month when they want their drafts to come out. We understand, especially with the final expense market, you're working with a lot of people who are, paying for something like this with Social Security money, right? So if they want to structure or plan their premium payments around when they get that Social Security check every month, you have the ability to set it up on the app. They can also make changes to that, once an app is in-house. So just to understand that they have the flexibility and the options to specify or set up when they are paying and how they are paying for their policy. Now, important to remember, again, we are talking final expense. So who would not be eligible or a good candidate for a product like this? First and foremost, they have to have some form of eligible ID. So I mentioned our I-10 program. That would not apply for the PlanRight product. They need to have, a Social Security number, right? Pretty basic stuff, some form of ID, right? Whether it's state issued, driver's license, things like that. Straightforward. Every application you guys are writing is going to need some form of ID from the clients. Most importantly, though, because it is final expense, the mental competency piece to this is important, right? They need to be able to answer the questions and complete the app themselves. So no, the granddaughter cannot help grandma answer the questions or get her app signed, right? They need to be able to complete that themselves, because if we're talking final expense, we're talking, people in older ages, older stages of their life. If they're not able to complete this on their own, they're probably not a great candidate, because they need to be making these decisions for themselves, right? So that mental competency piece to it is certainly important. We just want to make sure that everyone is making the best decision for themselves, but based on the information that we're able to provide them, right? We're helping guide them through this insurance journey, if you want to call it that, right? Just to make sure that they have the appropriate coverage placed on them. But then when you do hop into the app, you know, the application process is going to flow, as any other e-app platform would. The one thing I would remind you guys of is when you are completing this application, your client does need to have access to their email. There's a point in the app where you will send them an email with a verification code. This is an authorization for us to be able to pull third-party medical data in the background. That's what allows us to get that point of sale decision. So while they're answering these medical questions, we're also going to pull that third-party medical data. That's going to be a check on the prescription history and the MIB, right? Just making sure that everything lines up. But again, that is going to allow us to, at the end of the app, know that the client is covered and which plan type they are covered in. So as I said, there's 3 different plan levels or plan types. The 15 medical questions are broken up into 3 different sections. And as you can see on the screen here, for example, this is section 1, questions 1 through 6. These are your knockout questions. So just like it says at the top of the page there, if a yes answer for questions 1 through 6, the proposed insured is not eligible. So if you're in the application, you guys have started it, you're jumping into the medical questions. If the client answers yes to one of these, the app will actually stop you. You'll get a pop-up letting you know that they're not qualified. If they're not qualified for a final expense plan, that's really your clue. The best bet for them is to go find them a guaranteed issue product, right? But if they answer no to all of these questions, you know they're in the game, right? You know they're going to qualify for something on this plan. The second set of questions, questions 7 through 12. If they answer yes to one of these, it'll tell you right there on the app. That qualifies them for the basic plan level. So again, that's your 2-year graded period. So anyone who passes away during the first 2 years would receive return of premium plus 10% of their face value. But even just looking at these questions, you can see that there is a lot of leniency in this product in terms of the underwriting, right? Let's look at question number 10, for example. Within the past year, have you had a heart attack or a stroke, right? If you've got a client who's had a heart attack or a stroke in the last year, they're probably not going to be qualified for any other products. Or if they are, they will be rated probably pretty high. That rating increases the premium. But we can see with PlanRight, even if they answered yes to that question, I had a heart attack in the last year, we could still get them qualified for the basic plan. So that is really where you can see the impact of who we are able to get covered and how many people were able to get covered through a plan like this. The last set of medical questions, 13, 14, and 15, any yes answer here would put them in the standard death benefit or standard plan type. So again, that's a $20,000 face amount limit, but it is day one, 100% of your death benefit. And again, just looking here at the leniencies, we just looked at the basic bucket, right? If they had a heart attack in the last year, that gets them basic. But if we look at question number 14 here, within the past 2 years, have you had a heart attack or a stroke? They answer yes to that. So let's say not within the last year, but within the last 2 years, they had a heart attack. Even just that 12-month difference gets them qualified for the standard bucket. So you can really see how expansive the underwriting is with the PlanRight product. And again, the interest of this is just to expand how many people we can get covered, how many people you could build into your book of business, how many families you guys can get covered, right? Because if you're working with the grandparents, there's a great possibility that you're going to be working with their kids, their grandkids. There's opportunities for life insurance coverage, throughout generations, right? So we want to make sure that everyone is protected in the ways that they need to be protected. This is a great product for you guys to have in your tool belt. And then, as I mentioned, Foresters, unique as a company, as a fraternal, basically meaning we don't have shareholders who we answer to, right? The people that we are responsible for, responsible to, are the policyholders who we actually consider members of Foresters. And just by having a Foresters policy, I said $10 million term, $10 million universal life, or $10,000 final expense plan, you get access to the same member benefits for free. They're active from day one. There's nothing the client has to do to activate them nothing extra that they are paying for. They simply hop online to the My Foresters portal, create their login, and from there they can access any and all of the member benefits that are available to them. So this is going to include things like a competitive scholarship program for kids and grandkids of Foresters members. So right now we're talking final expense. If grandpa or grandma has any grandkids getting ready to go to college, they're able to qualify for the competitive scholarship to help pay for that secondary education. That's a great benefit. These are great value adds, right? Especially when you consider that that scholarship program is not exclusive to a 4-year university program. So even a trade school, a vocational school, they can apply and be able to pay for whatever schooling beyond high school they're going to be attending up to $2,000 a year for 4 years. So that's $8,000 in scholarship money that they're able to get qualified for just because a family member has a forester's policy. So big benefit to them. Anyone who likes to do community outreach or volunteer events, we have a community granting program where they can receive up to $3,600 a year from foresters to help pay for those events. Again, all of this is free. But I think the most important member benefit to talk about is Law Assure. This member benefit allows your client to get a free will, power of attorney, and healthcare directive. And at the end of 2025, we actually added a living trust to this benefit. So just by having a forester's policy, your client now has access to all of their end stage planning, which I think is incredibly important. If we look at this number here, that 68% of Americans say they don't have a will in place. If you are working with the final expense market, it is certainly important to make sure that they have their end stage plan together as well. And there's a million reasons why people wouldn't have a will, right? Costs too much money, takes too much time. They don't even know who to contact or where to start. We talk about simplifying things on the application side for you guys and the clients. We want to simplify their life on the back end as well. So they have an active forester's policy. Now we're simplifying their end stage planning. Day one, the policy's active. You can have them hop into their portal and go into this online program, Law Assure, to create their will, their power of attorney, set up that living trust if they need to, lay out their healthcare directives. That gives them peace of mind. That gives their family peace of mind, knowing that when that loved one does pass away, all of this stuff is taken care of, right? Because the last thing you want to do if a loved one passes away is have to deal with paperwork, right? Figure out, where all this stuff is going. They can lay that out for themselves today. They have access to make changes to any of this information. They can also authorize who gets access to this info. So again, make sure you're talking about the member benefits with anyone that you're having the life insurance conversation with. But I think especially Law Assure is the one you always want to hit on. If you guys do have questions about the products, application process, certainly use EasyBiz to check out the underwriting guides and the other product resources. But this 866 number is going to be your go-to. And then this right here is your team at Foresters. Myself, I'm the rep who specifically works with you guys, but I have my colleague Andrew Orth or my internal wholesaler David Johnson ready to assist. I travel a lot, so if I'm ever unavailable, certainly reach out to David or reach out to our sales team. They're great resources. But you guys also want to make sure that you are using EasyBiz. And the last thing I want to leave you with is some information on our bonus program. If you guys are not familiar with Fund Your Dreams, Fund Your Dreams is our quarterly bonus program that we pay out to agents, earning a 12% bonus. So when you come into EasyBiz, this is your agent portal, right? All these links at the top. Our story is information on the member benefits package. Under my products, you'll see everything that you guys have available to you. Up under the knowledge zone, some great training and underwriting pieces. And right here is your link to the PlanRight Live app. And right here is information on Fund Your Dreams. So again, this is our quarterly bonus program. We've been running this for a few years now. We have updated the qualifications. So the way that this would work is per quarter. Currently, we're in quarter one. The minimum qualification is 6 applications submitted. 25,000 points, we call them. That just means annual premium. So if you write 6 apps in a quarter for a minimum of 25,000 in annualized premium, you're going to earn a 12% bonus on top of that business that you submitted. We pay these bonuses out within the first 30 days after the end of the quarter. The points reset, and then you have that entire next quarter to qualify for the bonus again. When you guys come into EasyBiz, you'll see this blasted on the main page. If you click here to track your progress, this will take you to the tracker that gets updated every Monday. You simply plug in your agent number right here, and it's going to show you your stats basically for the quarter. So, obviously placement is important, but then persistency are things that we look at as well, right? 12, 9, 6, and 3-month persistency on all the business that you're submitting. You're able to track all of that right through the website. So, make sure you keep an eye out for this. If you don't hit it in quarter one, no big deal, right? You still have Q2, 3, and 4 to be able to qualify for a bonus. If you have started the year hot and are tracking to hit the bonus in quarter one, that's an awesome benefit to you. That's a great way to start the year and a potential for you guys to earn a 12% bonus every single quarter this year. There's no cap on how large of a bonus you guys want to earn for yourselves, right? It's going to be 12% on top of whatever you guys have written based on these minimum qualifications. So again, 6 apps, 6 apps, 25,000 annualized premium. You're getting 12% on top of all of that. Adrian, any questions that we want to take a look at?
Yeah, there are a few questions, and that was a lot of information. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna have to totally come back and re-listen to this on the recording as well to remember everything that you went over. But Michael had asked if you could show the phone number again, and then
yep. Or actually, would it be helpful if I just put it in the chat?
Yeah, you can do that. If it'll let you chat, everyone. Yep. Okay.
Perfect.
Well, I think that just went to panelist.
Oh, did it? Okay. Let me try this again. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. So this 866 number, this is your general number to get to Foresters. The entire system is voice automated. So when you call in, it'll ask for your agent number. If you have that, it's recommended that you provide it. You can type it in or say it, and then just say whatever department or the reason that you're calling, right? Option number 1, or if you just say sales, takes you right to our sales desk. Options 2 and 3, you can talk to the new business case managers or the underwriters. And then, as I said, everything that we covered everything that we covered today, I know it was a lot. All this information is also available on EasyBiz. So, make sure you're using that resource, the underwriting guides, as well. That's really going to be your one-stop shop for any questions that you have Foresters related. You can track and manage all of your business in there.
Yeah, Mark had asked, I'm just going to say these 2 questions, but it looks like they can both probably be answered from, I think I saw a diabetes guide in there and another kind of underwriting guide in EasyBiz. But Mark had asked, can you explain type 1 to type 2? And Rayvon asked, a person with sickle cell, would APS be needs? I think you mean be needed, but
yeah, definitely. Yeah, so something like sickle cell, definitely going to need an APS on that. That would be a good question to call and ask our underwriters about, because they'll be able to tell you if that person would be eligible to apply right now, if there'd be a waiting period, if there's a potential for them to be rated. When it comes to diabetes, type 1, type 2 diabetics, ask your client. If someone has diabetes, they'll know if they're type 1 or type 2. But typically what you're looking for is someone who uses insulin, they're type 1. And the underwriting guides lay out, who qualifies, who doesn't, based on product, based on type 1 or type 2 diabetes. And yes, under the knowledge zone, there is a section that talks specifically about diabetes underwriting.
Yeah, I kind of saw that when you were going through that. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to our brokers. I see quite a few of you are still on. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us to learn about this product from Foresters. Remember, you can jump into Integrity Connect right now. You can quote the final expense, and you can quote that term product that he spoke about on Integrity Connect as well. So if you're really curious how the rates play, I ran a quote before we started. Their rates are very competitive. They are up there in the top few for sure. But I think that the member benefits, is going to be why they might pay that extra few dollars a month um, to go with Foresters. And then join
Absolutely.
us Thursday. We are going to be doing a special webinar on just working with Eldercare. And so all of you on here, like this product we talk about, qualifies for like our lead programs, our reward points. If you're directly contracted with Eldercare, then this product qualifies you for all of that. And we'll talk about it more this Thursday. So thank you again, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day and see you next time.
Thanks, Adrian.